Hey guys, what's going on? So, there's this trick that I learned from Grant Cardone about sales, and I actually put it into use the other day. It was really interesting, and it made sense when he said it, but I hadn't ever used it yet. And I was talking with somebody on the phone, and we were kind of going back and forth about things. And the thing that Grant said was be silent, ask a question, and be silent. And so I had asked a question, person said something back, and they kind of mentioned something, and I was thinking about, man, what am I gonna say? I really don't have anything to say, and then that kind of that thought came into mind that Grant had said, be silent, and the customer will start talking again, and so I was silent, and this had to be at least 5 seconds of silence on the phone. And so it feels like a lot of time, but when you say it out loud, it doesn't seem like a lot of time. But on the phone, it is a lot of time. And so I just quiet, and I was like, all right, just hold out, just hold out, just hold out. And then all of a sudden, the customer starts talking again. He starts saying all this stuff, and he kind of gives me enough to talk about that I can actually bring a solution to it. I can actually bring something of value to the conversation instead of just trying to respond, and not have anything that was worthwhile. I was actually able to give a credible response to him. And this isn't exactly what Grant was talking about ask a question and get silent, but it was pretty close. I asked a question. He made a small response, but there was nothing I could really say from that. I didn't get really any information from the question I asked. So I was silent. And he didn't like the silence. Of course, I didn't either. But he started talking again, all because I was silent. And he ended up answering the question that I had, and I was able to ask further questions based on that. I was able to elaborate on the situation we were talking about. And it was just really interesting how that silence really worked out. And we all have this trouble. We all don't like silence. And so if you are in any kind of negotiation, it doesn't have to be sales per se. It could be with a spouse, it could be with a friend, it could be with somebody you don't really know. If you're in any kind of negotiation or argument, something along those lines where you're kind of a back and forth conversation there, and you're trying to understand the other person, or hopefully not just trying to prove them wrong, but if you're in a situation like that, be silent. It's amazing what will happen when you put a little silence behind a question. Ask the question, be quiet, count to 3 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, something like that, and then they'll start talking. I guarantee they're going to start talking, because that's exactly what happened to me. I was like, man, I better say something. I don't know. It's been quiet too long. I better just say something. And I was like, hold off one more second. And hold off one more second. I probably held off another 2 or 3 seconds. In my head, it felt like it was probably, like I said, only about 5 seconds. But then all of a sudden, he starts talking again. And this is exactly what Grant was talking about, is to ask the question to the customer, be silent. Don't keep talking, because especially as a salesperson, you're going to end up selling yourself short. You're going to say stuff that makes them not open up completely. They just get stuck on one track. And so something kind of to relate this, I could say, hey, I want to talk to you about commercial real estate. Was wondering if we could sit down sometime to talk. And then oh, I put a little pause in there. Oh man, they haven't responded yet. But yeah, I want to talk about selling your property. Well, now what I've done is not only told them, hey, I want to talk, and kind of kept it general, like, we're open to buying, selling, and leasing, but now all we can talk about is selling. So now you get stuck going down this path of, oh, we're only talking about selling my property now. And a lot of times, especially when you're on the phone, from my, I'm blanking out on what I'm trying to say. My experience is that they get nervous. They say, oh no, I'm not interested in selling. because you didn't get to know the person. You're not asking what they're wanting to do. All you're doing is going straight to, hey, let me sell your property. And of course, in their minds, they're like, well, that broker is just trying to make money. That's all he's worried about. And the thing is, you're not there to make money. I mean, of course, you're there to make money in the ultimate, the long run, but in the long term. But there at the very beginning, you're there to help that person out, or at least I hope you are. That's my goal, is to help people out when I speak to them about commercial real estate. And so that's why I don't ask them straight away, are you looking to sell? Now, if they ask, like, well, what exactly you want to talk about? Well, we want to sit down and talk with you about, investment strategy, see what you're planning on doing long term with this property. Are you planning on buying more? Are you planning on selling this? Are you leasing right now? Do you want to lease somewhere else? What are you doing? Because this is a cold call. I don't know the person. But back to what I was saying, putting silence behind a question really helps, because the customer is going to give you more information than when you just ask a simple question. Because just asking one simple question and then trying to follow it up with another simple question and constantly just doing more of an interrogation instead of fact finding and having a conversation with this customer, you're going to have more trouble actually getting information you need. So if you ask a simple question and then have silence behind it, they'll start talking. And even try a little bit of extra silence after they kind of answer your question. Put a little bit more silence, because hey, can we sit down and talk about selling your property? Let's be a little more specific here. Selling your property. Yeah, that would be good. And then be quiet. Maybe try to be quiet for like 2 seconds. Then they're gonna say something else. They're gonna start. Well, yeah, I've been thinking about it for a while. I talked with somebody, but they weren't, really sure. And see, they start uncovering things for you. So, oh, you've thought about this already. This isn't something brand new. Who have you talked to? And then it's like, oh, well, are you working with a broker right now? Because that's a problem too, because you might call upon somebody who's actually working with a broker, and you don't want to work with them as far as the real estate side. But maybe they're already working with somebody. Maybe they've already been looking somewhere. And now, instead of trying to figure out exactly what they're trying to do, they can start telling you what they've been doing, and you can assist them with that. So make sure you're putting in that silence. Make sure you put that silence after a question for them to answer, and even after they give you a short answer, put in more silence, and they'll probably start saying more stuff. And a big thanks to Grant for that recommendation on that. I apologize about the AC unit. Decided to do some filming outside today. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to it on the podcast, you're just hearing a really annoying noise. But I'll go ahead and end the podcast here. And guys, put some silence behind it, unlike this AC unit, and have a healthy and blessed day.